tapping arms. They all serve one purpose: to keep the tap level and supported when cutting threads. Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, Walmart. For 200... Is that US? Wait, I'm Australian, so I have no clue. This isn't like a normal thing to find in Walmart, is it? This is one I designed a few years back. Overall, it's nice, but having used it probably 100 times now, there are a few things I'd like to change. Firstly, changing taps is not difficult, but can be annoying. Some commercial models feature a counterweight to help with this, and that's something that I tried and failed to implement on my first design. Secondly, the build is flimsy. Technically this is probably fine. There should be no force on the arm to make it flex, but it's always bothered me nonetheless. The arm also comes loose and swivels sometimes, which is also quite annoying. Finally, the base itself. I used a piece of CNC cut wood for the first version. This works alright, but it's not really in keeping with the aesthetic of my current design projects. It's also just a very lightweight tool that gets pushed around easily and isn't very satisfying to use. With those goals out of the way, let's get to the build. This begins with some printed parts. Into the cover and spacer blocks, I installed a total of 8 M4 threaded inserts.
Gosh, dang it.
4 M5 nuts are pressed into the base. Following this recessed part can be bolted in place. And finally, the main bed can also be screwed in place. After this, we move up to the head for a while.
You can see that's going to go in there. Onto that I'm going to put an M6 coupling nut. But yeah, look, not my finest shot, but I think you get the idea.
These are then further secured with 2 M6 bolts as part of the spine for the cement. Onto these bolts, 3 more pieces need to be installed, making sure to have the threaded inserts facing the right way. I prepared 2 lengths of M6 rod with a coupling nut on each end.
And this is the part where I hope I don't glue it to the table.
These are installed into their spots and bolted in place. The longer of the 2 lengths should be towards the front of the machine. The main body can then slot into position on the base. This can then be followed by the head, making sure to align the spine to its front and rear position.
Yeah, this was short-sighted design, that's for sure. Nice.
The spacer component's position isn't super critical, so with a drop of glue, I secure both of them in place. While we're gluing, I also glue all around any seam where the concrete could escape from. And with that done, the form is ready to be filled.
I think that's it for today.
I'm once again learning about how to make a good form. I had less holes than the last one, but the same issue. I think I'll just use a very small viewing hole to check the flow next time, or have a larger hole that I can easily plug. The concrete is then left to set for a day. with the form cleaned up, we can get on with the finishing touches.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this now, kind of in the middle of the build, even though you could decide this later. Work holding. So, the idea here was that I could use the turntable from the ball vise, this same locking turntable setup, and this would allow you to use the same vices that I designed for version 1. And this does work. It allows you to lock it off, you can do all that. It's decently nice, but I think it's overcomplicated, and I found myself with version 1 just hand holding the vice anyways. So instead of this, I'm just gonna put that in there and just use a standard vice to do my work holding.
Finally, the tapping head and counterweight. First, the chuck of choice is installed onto a length of M8 rod. Then a bearing is press fit into the lift ring, which also has a length of braided fishing line threaded through the 2 holes.
Okay, now for another little finicky bit. Making sure that this block is aligned in this orientation. So there's the 2 holes on the back, and there's the 2 holes on the back of this. We need to thread these strings here through these matching holes.
Finally, it is tied in a reef knot through this piece. Next, we attach the counterweight. I've cheated a bit and just used some scrap, but the easiest setup here for most people would probably be a stack of washers. Next, the whole assembly is mounted to the base. I install 3 lengths of brass rod and forget to turn the camera on. This part is then secured partially to the base to allow the counterweight to be installed. With that installed, the tapping arm is complete. The counterweight is the biggest change to the design and the most needed. Now the chuck does not move without pressure, but remains easy to use. This makes changing taps far more pleasant. Yeah, this is another one that isn't super exciting to watch. In fact, it makes the drill press look exciting by comparison. Because of the concrete, that flex from version 1 is now essentially imperceptible in version 2. The tool also now has a nice weight to it, making it more pleasant to use as it does not easily move all over the bench. It also makes a nice noise. There's a cost breakdown on screen now. This is a particularly cheap one. Overall, it's a simple but very useful tool that I'm glad to have in my workshop. From here, I can't see myself visiting this again. I feel like I've learnt all I needed from version 1. Thank you to my patrons, and to you, as always, for watching.